All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start things off. And the very first person that we are talking about today is Jiraiya. Also, no video, uh, technical issues. Jake can attest to that. So, Jiraiya, incredible death, very heartfelt, um, humongous for both continuity, story, and also character development. I mean, without Jiraiya's death, Naruto couldn't understand Sasuke when they had their hearts collide, so to speak, in their battle after Danzo's death. Also, I think everyone loves Ero Sensei, aka Jiraiya. Um, easy S tier for old J. All right, Jake.
Jaybird, can you share your screen with me,
Oh my goodness, I am such a silly
please?
man. So it is for yeah. I will share the screen right now. That's an oopsie doodle for old Jay.
Nah, it's all good. I knew
Yeah,
where we were
we
starting,
had
so
to
it's fine. I just was
restart
like,
everything, guys. So can you see it now, Jagers?
yeah, yep, I got it. All right, so we're going by the order in which we picked them. So I've got Hiruzen.
I believe,
Uh,
yeah,
so
Haruzen.
so the third Hokage's death for me, like early on in Naruto, it never had that like almost childhood feel because you look at like episode, I don't even know what it is, like episode 7, they're fighting zombies like about to die. But it was always like they're gonna find a way and like all the good guys are gonna be fine at the end, like how it is in most shows.
Mm-hmm.
So for the Leaf Village invasion there, like for Sarutobi to die like that, like that was mind blowing for me. Like as a kid, and stuff watching it, and then as you kind of grow up and you go along with the show and you get into Shippuden and you learn about what Sarutobi did. Like it's just one of those deaths that just keeps being relevant and sad like throughout the entire show. So to me, it's like it's a big deal. Like at the time, you see everyone crying. It's somber, uh, but it would only be like a B at that point in time. But the fact that it just keeps building throughout the show and staying relevant, to me, it gets put up in A tier.
An A tier. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it would be like a B plus A minus for me. But like the fact that it just kept being relevant like pushes it up a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Good placement. And so the second episode will actually be all of, or both Jake and I going over each other's choices and saying what we agree with, what we disagree with. So we're going to try and hold our comments until the following episode. So my
Mm-hmm.
next one is Tayuya. And so, for you guys who don't remember, it was also Pain was the one who killed Jiraiya, who was one of Jiraiya's previous students who he thought was the chosen one. I forgot to mention that. Very important, really. But I mean, that just adds to the impact that he thought he was going back, and then like his final death thralls, he realized that Naruto was actually the chosen one or the child of prophecy. And I mean, it was just such a powerful death. So Tayuya was Shikamaru versus Tayuya, and Shikamaru probably was going to die if it wasn't for Tamari coming in to help. I actually enjoyed their fight. I mean, I loved every single one of the fights of the Sound 4. Was it Sound 4 or Sound 5? Do you remember, Jake?
It was Sound 4 because Kimimaro was in a hospital bed.
Yeah, yeah, fair. So, in the impact, in the grand scheme of things, I'm still going to throw us at D tier because it wasn't really that impressive, and it was big in the sense that it started like well, it didn't even start like the good relations between the leaf and the sand. I mean, that started with Naruto beating Gara. So, in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion, it was a good fight. It was fun to watch. I loved all of those, but in terms of like impactful deaths overall, I'd say D tier. On to you, Jake.
Okay, that's fair. So am I going down the list of mine? So I would have Kasami next.
So on my screen, I have Itachi for you next.
Oh, okay. I don't know. That's fine. So
Yeah, it
Itachi.
had to be changed after our little fiasco.
That's fine. That's fine. It's fine. So Itachi's death for me, um, I think we all can kind of agree at this point in time when we saw it. We're just like, good for you, Sasuke. Like you finally killed your older brother. Like you get over this whole revenge stuff. But Itachi's death doesn't like take hold. until Sasuke learns the truth. Because like, I remember being like, when I saw it, just like, oh, okay, like yeah, he's dead finally. Like, good to see that. But then you learn that he literally killed his entire family, just and then like left Sasuke alive out of both love and as a way to repent for himself. Like, Sasuke is the only one that can become strong enough to kill me, and I deserve to die for this. And then to like hold on and live for as long as he did with basically tuberculosis, like functionally blind, dying, and just like I have to hold on just long enough for my brother to kill me, and then still make it look good. Like I can't just let him slaughter me. I have to make him feel like he earned it, like he's accomplished something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
Easy D tier.
I mean, hell, I'm dude, oh god, no. He's an S tier because like as an older brother and stuff like that, I couldn't imagine living like that. Just like I don't know, it blows my mind. Like that's 100% an S tier.
Yeah, I agree. And we'll move. I guess that was a little spoiler for the next video, but we're going to go around to Asuma. So I really enjoyed. They didn't really build Asuma up until Shippuden. So throughout Naruto, he was a Jonin that we knew, and that was pretty much it. So we knew he was like good. He didn't really have a whole lot of impactful moments. Actually, any that I can think of in the child arc of Naruto. But they did build him up really well. We find out that he's actually related to Hiruzen, so the third Hokage. Also, he is Shikamaru's mentor, as well as, I mean, Ino and Choji. And I'd say the biggest impact of this death is just knowing how much it mattered to Shikamaru, who becomes a incredibly important ninja as the series progresses. And without Asuma's death, I don't think he could have progressed in the same manner that he did. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one actually at an A tier as well, because I think it was really important and it harkens through the entire series. Maybe into Boruto, I'm not really that familiar with it, but having him next to his dad, or, I mean, you can't really go wrong with that. All right.
Pretty perfect there. Who do I have?
So the
Do
next
I
one
have
you have
Minato and Kushina?
is who?
Do I have Minato and Kushina next?
You can go ahead and do Miyato and Kushina. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, that's fine. So I feel like this one is very similar to Itachi's, just because of like the timeline. So you know Naruto's parents are dead, but you don't know who they are. Which I think anyone with half a brain could have figured out. The fourth Hokage was Naruto's dad by I don't know, like the fourth episode. Um, but anyways, as you get in Shippuden and you start learning about his parents, and you start seeing like the dynamic that they have when they get to talk to him for the first time, and then you actually like watch the death again. I still cry when he talks when Kushina talks to him, and then when he talks to his dad again at the end. Like to me, like those instances and watching how he died or they died for him, like it's just I get torn between S and A tier. I'm actually going to slide it into the S just for like my own personal opinion.
All right, I'll go ahead and throw it there. All right, and my next one is going to be Sasori. So our orders are different, but I mean, whatever Jake has is the original order, by the way, guys. So we had this weird thing happen where my mouse disappeared and my camera disappeared and restarted the computer. This is what we're doing. This is where we are. So Sasori. So I didn't really like Sasori's death all that much. Um, it took Lady Chio. It took Sakura. I did like how much they emphasized how strong the Akatsuki were by he and Datara just fairly easily taking Gara. Yeah, Datara lost an arm. Sure, that's true. But Kankuro also almost died. Sakura gets a ton of character development, which there isn't a lot of that in the whole series. So this was really big as far as she goes. She was able to like show how strong she was, how smart she was. I don't think Sakura's as dumb of a character as people think she is at all. That being said, she did still need help. She needed to use, I think she had to use 2 vaccines on herself during that fight to stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
And Lady Chio had to kill her son Also, in the future, Sasori's death resulted in Kankuro getting a new puppet, which I also thought was weird and creepy, but also kind of cool because he made himself into a puppet also. So, my end ranking is going to be a B tier in terms of not because I thought the fight was that great, but I thought the impact of it was, I mean, it resounded through the series. So that's where I'll leave it at a B tier.
Mhm.
All right, you're up next, Jake.
Agreed. So I have Shikaku and Inoichi next, and we had
Okay.
talked about beforehand for those of
Mm-hmm.
you that don't know, since they died at exactly the same time, due to exactly the same reason.
Which
Because
are
they both ultimately
Shikamaru's dad
died.
and Ino's dad, just for anyone who doesn't know, because
Yep,
I
yep.
forget names all the time.
Uh, so the big takeaway for me for this fight wasn't so much the emotional impact. So it's not that high in terms of like sadness for me, because I think pretty much anyone would agree that Shikamaru's like quote dad unquote Asuma had already died. He had already gone through that. You can't hurt him a whole lot more by killing Shikaku. Um, but the fact that they remain cool, calm, and collected, like there's a job to do. Let's just keep going. This is what you have to do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's on you guys now. It was very much a changing of the guard moment, as opposed to an emotional impact moment for me. So for me, emotionally, it's only like a B. So I would put it in both of them in the B tier.
Okay. All right, and my next one's going to be we'll do Nawaki next. I know I have Kim and Maru, but we're going to switch those because that's what we're going to do. So, for Nawaki, as far as how important Nawaki is to the story, so Nawaki's important to Tsunade. Tsunade is important to the story because Tsunade gives the necklace she gave to Nawaki and Dan to Naruto, which helps restrict the Nine Tails. So without Nawaki, Naruto wouldn't matter nearly as much to Tsunade. That being
Mm-hmm.
said, we don't actually get any real emotional connection to Nawaki other than it hurt Tsunade, it hurt Jiraiya, and it hurt Orochimaru. Because that's the only scene we see. We don't even see how he died. We just know he got killed. And it's sad, yes, but I'm not sure that even without that necklace, they wouldn't have been able to restrict Naruto. And I don't know how important Nawaki would have been, so I'm going to put him in a C tier because I don't think he was that important of a character, but I do like his character still to a degree. He
Mm,
might be
that's
a
fair.
D tier.
So I
All right.
believe I
So who are you doing, Jake?
uh, I believe I have. I'm looking at the list down here. Um, so I'll just do Ren's next. I'll do that one. That one's fun.
Oh, Ren.
Um,
Okay. Well,
yeah. So I can't remember the order anymore, and I don't have it pulled up. So I'll do Ren's next.
all right. Can
Um,
you see my screen?
yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay.
So Ren's death was low key kind of funny for me.
Okay.
Just because how it was all played along, and it's not an emotional aspect of really for any character except for um, Kakashi and Obito. And Kakashi, like, you don't even really know about the fact that that's bothering him until later on in the show. Like,
That's
he's
true,
just
actually.
everyone's dead. Yeah, so you know he cares more about Obito being dead than anything. And they mentioned that a couple times in the childhood form of Naruto. And then you get into the older one, and you actually see like how she died, uh, and you realize it's just it's a clusterfuck. So for those of you who don't know, Rin was kidnapped, and then they put the three tails inside of her and let her be rescued by Kakashi to send her back to the village. And she, I think, knows about it. That's why she throws herself in front of Kakashi to die. Um, so it wasn't as emotional. It was just like her doing her duty as a Kunoichi. Unfortunately, it had a very not positive effect on her teammates. And Obito went completely crazy, and Kakashi just went, super depressed, even more so than he already was. So for emotional, I'm only gonna put it in a C tier.
Okay. I was expecting a D tier from what we were saying beforehand, so that surprised me. Okay.
Yeah, it's like it's important enough to move the story, like for the story, because Obito doesn't try to end the world basically if she doesn't die.
Hmm.
So that's why it's important enough. But like, I laughed when she died. I'm not gonna
Hmm. Well, that's pretty savage. Um, I
lie.
I do look forward to our second video where we go over these results because I do have a something for this one in particular. Um,
Okay, that's
but
fine.
I mean, I'm sure you have some for me too. I'm gonna go straight to Kimimaru. So Kimimaru, I mean, I like I said before, I enjoyed all of the Sound Four, yeah, although it is Sound Five. I mean, those were some of really what got me into Naruto was watching weird like anime music videos of like that fight between each of them, like edited,
Hmm.
and I loved it. I loved it so much. And this is where we get to see Neji shine because seeing Neji get beat up by one punch from Naruto felt really bad, in my opinion, because Neji didn't deserve that. He's a really cool character. He's also one of the geniuses of the Hidden Leaf. They built him up to be like an equivalent to Sasuke, and then they let the Byakugan fall behind. And I always thought that felt really, I thought felt bad. Um, but I mean, I can't argue with the narrative that they made. I did enjoy the fight. I enjoy seeing Neji's character development where he acknowledges Naruto. I enjoy seeing the way he is able to adapt as the battle goes on. And you can see how smart he is by being able to put himself in a position to win the fight. And he manages to not die. I really like this fight, but despite everything I'm saying, I'm still going to put it in a B tier. Um, just because I don't know how much importance it has overall to the entire narrative. I really, really like this fight though. Like this is like probably a low A, high B tier for me. I enjoyed it. All
Yeah,
right.
that fight is my favorite of the Sound Four fights.
Yeah, I
Believe
think
it or not,
so.
I
Me
love it.
too. Well,
Um,
and that and I like
like
Kimi
what?
or Kitamaru. Wait, is it Kitamaru or Kimimaru?
What's your like? I I don't remember. I
I
just call
don't
him
either.
Spider Boy.
Yeah, I like Spider Boy and I like Bone Boy. Those are my two faves.
So like, what a baller move by Neji though. Like, I'm gonna let you hit me because I can't dodge. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, right.
I was like, damn, okay, that's sad. So I'll do Kisame next.
Kisame,
So
okay.
his death wasn't emotional at all. It was probably the most emotionless death in the entire show
Yeah, you're right. I
because
never thought about that.
like literally it's just I've been captured. I can't let them get this information. I'm gonna kill myself, and that's literally what he does. So in terms of like relevance to the show, it's probably like a C. But in terms of actual emotional impact, it's like an F.
Damn. So where are you gonna put it?
So go ahead and throw it in D.
Okay.
We don't have an F tier because literally he's just like I'm gonna trap you guys and then off myself.
Yeah.
Peace.
Hmm. Ah. Okay. So I'll go on to Pain. So this is a double hitter. Double header. Double hitter. Doesn't matter. So we're gonna go on to Pain and Nagato next. So Nagato and Pain. Um, the Pain fight. I mean, it's one of my favorite in the whole series. I think a lot of people would agree with that. It's really cool seeing just how strong Naruto gets after Naruto beats Pain. Spoiler: if you guys are watching this, I don't know why you're watching it if you're not wanting spoilers, but it's so cathartic seeing the village love Naruto after how much suffering he's gone through. And it makes everything feel like it's been worth it up to that point. And that's like 300 episodes in. I loved it. Uh, Another thing that's really important is that Nagato's goals were basically Naruto's goals through different means. And Naruto couldn't answer Pain's question initially either on how he would change the ninja world to make his dream a reality. He had to release 8 tails to fight him. He only didn't go totally. I mean, he didn't get his like soul eaten because of Minato, so the fourth Hokage, Naruto's dad.
Mm-hmm.
It was just such a good fight, and it's also between Jiraiya, who I put in an S tier, which I think most people would agree with, And Nagato is another one of his students. So it's like two of his students on the two different paths that Jiraiya was uh, given the prophecy from the giant old toad who's very forgetful. I don't remember his name. Do you remember, Jake?
Uh,
Let's call him Old Sage Toad.
didn't Naruto just call him like? Yeah, he called him like Geezer Sage or
Yeah,
something.
something like that. I mean,
Nagato,
he gave him a very Naruto
although
name,
respectable title,
and
which makes Hokage Naruto so ironic because he's like it's Lord
yeah. So there were just so many important plot points to this, so many maturing points for Naruto, who's the protagonist. I am going to have to put this in S tier. I I wasn't sure how I felt about the talking him down at the end. That I might put that in A tier because I thought it was he was a little bit too easily convinced, but overall the impact on the series has to be S tier in my opinion. And I'll leave it to you, Jake.
And just to add on to that, I know we're going to say where it comes from a bit, but it's also like kind of marks the point where Naruto surpassed Sasuke, and like he never looked back after that. So there's like even more relevance into the show besides just like how we've gotten there. Anyway, so on to who I have next. I think I have Conan next.
Sure, let's do Conan.
Um, so that one was I don't know, it's hard to explain. So as soon as Nagato was just like, all right, not a bad guy anymore. I guess I'll just save everyone and die. Conan's like, yep, I'm with that now. I'm cool with that. You're gonna save the day, Naruto, and we're gonna go back and I'll fight to protect them, whatever stuff like that. So the fact that she went from being basically, I'll say basically second in command of the primary antagonist organization,
Mm-hmm.
to being like the defiant protector of her friends and a good guy, quote unquote, um, was like a really odd paradigm shift, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. So when
Hmm.
Madara or Obito, however you want to look at it, came to uh, take back the Rinnegan, and she fought tooth and nail to protect him, it wasn't like an emotional impact at all. I thought that the fight itself was really good. I thought it was nice because she prepared ahead of time. She had like 10 minutes straight of infinite paper
Paper
bombs.
bombs,
If you
yeah.
remember that, she like
I
opened up
do.
the
Yeah,
like
that's crazy.
sea, and she just like, yeah, like have fun dying. You can't phase through this. Like you'll die. And then it served to like kind of like buff up Madara going forward. Like, oh damn, like he really can't be like killed. Like damn. Um, but as for emotion, like there was no emotional. It wasn't very sad. In fact, people didn't even really know about it. I don't think
People forget
Naruto
her
even knew
name
that.
also, just throwing that out.
Yeah, so like it's a D. Like it's a D.
Damn. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go on to let's go on to the Itachi clan slaughter. So,
Funny.
this is the biggest plot point in all of Naruto in my opinion. Without this, you don't get any of Sasuke's will. You don't get literally any of the hate between Naruto and Sasuke. You don't get Sasuke killing all the people that he kills, which he doesn't actually kill until he goes to the Five Raikage Summit, which is, I feel like, very forgotten very easily. He kills Samurai there, um, which is where a bunch of his hatred also ends up spawning from, I think, or at least being more easily accepted. Without this, you don't get the series of Naruto. I would put it an S tier, but it also gets retconned in a weird way at the very end, where they show like Itachi turning around and crying, which they never bring up in any of the early Naruto, and they don't bring up until like halfway through Shippuden. So, because of its relevance to the story, it has to be very highly ranked. But you hear about it so much, it kind of loses a certain amount of value, in my opinion. Man, I'm going to put this at the highest B tier I can, which might be controversial because it is hugely important, but I personally just didn't really like it that much. And you find out he needed help.
Mm-hmm.
On to you, Jake.
So do you want me to take Azumi? Where was she? I don't see her on the list.
Yeah, no, go for Izumi is Itachi's lady,
Oh,
right?
there it is. I see. Okay, I see it. Yep. Okay. So I'm gonna talk about. I think it only occurred in the manga. So I'm gonna talk about that version because that version is very emotional. What the way they did it in the show was very less so. In the show, I believe Obito just went and killed her. In the manga, what happens is so Itachi and her were, I guess, dating, which is weird because they're both Uchiha. Whatever, I don't judge. Um, anyways, so he put her under the infinite Tsukiyomi and gave her a lifetime of happiness, and then killed her at the end of her like Genjutsu dream, which is super depressing. um, so for me, like that's enough to push it up into above
Okay.
the other deaths of his clan members. So
And
it's
can
in
you
my
expand a
ranking.
little on the infinite Tsukiyomi that he used? Because it was, I know you said like a whole happy life, but can you give a little bit of what that entailed? Because it was like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
whole life.
So basically, what happens is an infinite Tsukiyomi. If I remember correctly, each second is like a month or something in infinite Tsukiyomi. So he put her under a genjutsu and then let all of her like happiest dreams and ambitions come true. So she wanted to get married to Itachi and have a family and all this sort of thing, grow old. So he gave her that in the dream basically. And then when she hit the end of her lifespan in the dream, then he killed her.
Yeah, very well
So
said.
he literally gave her like an entire happy life before finally offing her at the end of it. So I
And
would slide it into A.
oh, hey, okay,
Yeah, like I don't know that was a big one for me. It was the most emotional death of I think the entire Uchiha massacre.
wow, all right. All right, I'm gonna go on to Hashirama and Madara. So this isn't technically a real death, but it is important to just give scale to how strong both Hashirama and Madara are. And I mean, Madara and Hashirama become the pivotal points, mainly Madara, at the end of the Fourth Great Ninja War. And Hashirama is brought back to life to fight Madara again. We think Madara died very early on. At the, I mean, Valley of the End, you can literally see two statues of Hashirama and Madara, which is a harken back to the two founders of the Hidden Leaf. They're both two very important characters. We don't really get a whole lot of information besides a few flashbacks onto their fights. We know they're like eternal rivals in the sense, not like Might Guy and Kakashi in like a fun way, more like Naruto and Sasuke in a I want to kill you kind of way. And we get a feel for how strong they both are. They're ninjas who can win against an entire nation solely. That being said, they're really important plot wise, but knowing the end outcome and seeing it with a wood clone being the end result of killing Madara, killing, more like critically wounding Madara, it's really hard for me to put this one actually in a place. I personally, I know it has a lot of plot significance, but I don't actually care much for the backstory just because I feel like it needed to be fleshed out a little bit more. So I'm going to put really high C tier, which might be controversial. On to you, Jake.
All right, I believe. Do I have Neji's next? I think I have Neji's.
Sure, go for Neji.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with my ranking and then I'm gonna explain it. Neji's is like an F minus for me,
Hmm.
because he demonstrates that he has air palms, and instead of using air palms to blow the little sticks away, he jumps in front and lets it kill him. It's one of those things like you literally could have just like gotten rid of it. You could have even done rotation in front. Like Hinata, literally the same thing. She could have done air palms too. Like if she would have died, I would have been like, you're literally an idiot. You deserve to die then. So I'm mad at both of them for that death.
Oh my god. Jesus.
like
Lowest tier
like
on the list so far, guys. Neji's death.
like, Neji, you idiot. Just literally blow them away. That's all you have to do. Are you that helpless that you can't just like? Oh my god, no. That's yeah. It's an F. It's an F. It's a D. Whatever.
All right.
You're up. You're up, Jay.
So, Sakon or Sakon or however you pronounce his name doesn't really matter. It's him versus Kiba. Kiba pees on him. They fight, almost kill him. The only redeeming factor in this fight, I would say, is it's like a worse version of Tayuya's fight because we already get the idea that the Sand Village is coming to help. I believe. Maybe this one's before it. It doesn't matter. I remember this one as being first. I remember Tayuya first, so that says how bad it is. I would say Kiba is one of the worst of the original Genin. Not worse than 1010. I despise 1010. I don't like Kiba much, and I don't really care for their deaths. I did enjoy seeing the Fang over Fang and the double beast transformation. That was really cool. But and I enjoyed the death. Like what Konkoro did was really cool with the Iron Maiden. But it's still a very easy D tier for old J. I do not like this fight. I won't put it lower than Neji. I will put it. It's probably the second worst to Neji in my opinion. And that's for Jake's thoughts. I'm not sure I agree with that,
Yeah,
but we can address that another time. On to you.
that's fine. I think I have Obito next.
All right.
So Obito's was very much so. For spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't read Harry Potter yet, I don't care. It's been like a decade. You had your
Yeah,
chance.
it's too
It's
late.
like when Snape dies. Yeah, like you've had your chance. I don't feel bad. It's like when Snape dies. Like just because you did all of these really bad things and you're just a grade A asshole for the longest time. Like it doesn't matter what your childhood was like. Like you chose to be an asshole. Um, because you do one good thing at the end doesn't erase the fact that you were an asshole for this entire time.
True.
So like there obviously is significance because if he doesn't get rid of that spike, then Naruto dies and then Kaguya wins and then that's the end of the show. Um, but however, it's like okay, you did one good thing after being worthless for like your entire life. Like good for you. Um, so I'm again, it's one of those where I didn't feel bad at all. Uh, I'll give it a C just for significance of saving Naruto's life. Like good for you, buddy.
Okay. All right, on to Kakazu. So Kakazu and Naruto. So I would say this is the first time you see Naruto willing to kill for his dream. He doesn't kill Kakazu. Kakazu dies, but he's willing to kill for it. And he has been through training to learn both nature transformation and what is the other one? I mean, it's form. Form.
I don't.
I think it's form
Yeah,
transformation
Foreman.
too.
Mm,
Which is huge. I mean, it makes it so he can do things later on. It shows increased character development, but at the same time, he doesn't actually get the finishing blow. He's willing to kill for this dream, though, and to protect his teammates. And I think that's really big. And normally, I would probably put this at, like, honestly, a D tier, because I don't really. I liked the fight, but I didn't love the fight. I'm going to put it at mid C tier. And we also get to see the Rasen Shuriken like in its finest form. He also fucked up using it the first time, which, well, what are you gonna do? It's Naruto.
no,
He's our boy.
respectable. Knuckle ninja.
A good fight. Also, C tier is not horrible. D tier is kind of horrible. So,
Trash.
on to you, Jake. What do you want to do?
So Kakashi's dad. I'm gonna do that one next.
Okay.
So
And that's
what?
the White Fang,
Second or
guys.
something like that. Yeah, the White Fang. I want to say this was another death where, as you learn about it, you're just like, well, that was really stupid. So, to fill in what if you don't know, his dad chose as when he was in charge of the mission to not go through with the mission because most likely his teammates were going to be killed. Like there's a high chance that his team was going to die. So he chose to save their lives. But the whole mindset of the village was you go through the mission regardless. So he became ostracized and he killed himself because he like couldn't live with it. So again, I don't really feel bad. Like don't don't feel bad because you did like a good thing. So like emotionally, there wasn't really an impact for me. I don't think it necessarily developed the show a whole lot more. I think Kakashi still gets pretty super depressed if you kill off all of his friends. I don't think his dad staying around really like makes him not super depressed. Uh, so
It's true.
it's a D for me.
All right. Where on D?
Uh,
I'll put it below to you, yeah.
yeah, that's fine.
For now. I mean, if you want to change it,
That,
that's fine.
it's
All
fine. That
right.
stuff just made me mad more than anything. I was like, what are you doing? Like, why'd you like you? Hey, you have a 7-year-old son at home with no mother. Like, what are you doing?
So I really liked when we first got to meet his dad when we find out Pain killed Kakashi, but we can bring that up in the second video.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, but yeah. So the next one I'll do is I'll just go ahead and do Hayate Gecko, which is a name I literally forgot. Jake had to remind me. I had to Google it too to be sure. I did like him. He had like kind of a Shikamaru personality, but with none of the talent or intelligence. He got beaten up by Baki. So for those of you guys who don't know who Baki is, he's the like I wouldn't say second in command of the Sand Village, but he's the guy who has half of his face covered with a cloth. He's clearly like one of the better Jonin of the Sand Village. Very capable. This was when in the very first. I mean, it was when Naruto and Sasuke got back from training and were about to go into the Chunin exam finals. And he just got killed trying to just convey information. He didn't really do anything. He died off screen. This is the easiest D tier I've ever seen in my whole life. Horrible. All right. You're up, Jake.
Do I have Diderot next? Do I have Diderot next?
Yeah, go for it, dude. I mean, I think most of the rest are yours, aren't they? Because you have Datara, you have Hizashi, you have Haku and Zabuza, and you have um, is
Shisui.
that's Shisui? Yeah, you have
Yeah, it's
Shisui.
Shisui right there.
So yeah,
And then
you have
then
four
you
and
have
I
the
have
other three.
three. Yep, I think so.
Okay, that's because I think it's because you started, so it's fine. That means we're right on track. So I'll do Diderot next.
Okay.
This was another fight that was like pretty stupid in my opinion. Like the fight itself was really cool. Like Sasuke balls out, does some pretty awesome things in this fight. It shows how far he's developed from his training with Orochimaru. I mean, he's fully understanding of nature transformations,
Yeah.
running the electric current through the ground, understanding that's a ground, an earth-based jutsu, stuff like that. And then Daira throws the ultimate temper tantrum at the end because he can't win, um, and blows himself up to kill Sasuke, and fails because Sasuke is quick thinking, does a summoning jutsu, hides in the summoning jutsu's mouth, um, and then the summoning dies, and Sasuke lives. Albeit he was pretty messed up from the fight. Um, but again, so Daidara off himself to kill someone and then fail. Uh, Jackson's gonna be mad at me, but Daidara's a D.
Jackson's gonna be so mad. Okay. Well, where on the D list? It can't be worse than
um,
freaking Hayate Gecko, right?
he kills himself and doesn't even accomplish what he tried to do by killing himself. Like it's pretty.
It's.
Put
I
him
mean,
ahead of
so'd
Hayate.
he. It's gotta be there, man. I mean, you put where you want it to be, because we can talk about it in the next one.
Put it behind Neji.
That's where he is.
No, it's fine. It's fine right there.
Okay.
Yep, it's fine right
All right.
there.
I am looking forward to talking about that one. All right. So Hidan. So
Okay.
Hidan is, I would argue, one of the weakest members of the Akatsuki. He's not that fast. He's not that strong. He is immortal. As long as he is put back together, he's good to go. But that does rely on someone moving his body or him like he talks about when he dies how he can just like lick his way through rocks. Like that's going to take fucking centuries, dude. Like that's going to be horrible. Like we're not going to see you in Boruto. But he is really good in the sense he helps demonstrate how strong Shikamaru's gotten, how great his tactician skills are. It is further emphasized by Asuma's death, and we get to see how much Asuma's death mattered to basically the whole Hidden Leaf. Also, it was I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. It was really cool learning that he was related to the third Hokage. I think I did, but I
Yeah, you
really,
mentioned it.
yeah, I think I did. I do really, really enjoy this fight. I don't think it merits getting an A tier. He died mainly just from, I guess, the amount of total effort required. Basically, Shikamaru just lured him into like the Nara family woods, which is like a bunch of deer, uh, trapped him. He did get a vial of Kakuzu's blood, which was cool. And then he drank some of Kakuzu's blood instead, which was hilarious. And then Kakuzu blew up one of his own hearts. I really like this fight. Um, Man, yeah, you're probably gonna have to have something to say about this one, Jake. But I like this more than the Itachi or the Uchiha clan slaughter. Frankly, I'm gonna put it at high B. High B.
No,
I really like that one.
no comment.
Yep. All right, we'll go on to you.
Okay.
I really like that fight.
So that's fine. Shisui. This is another
Okay.
one that is kind of. I I could be wrong. I'm pretty confident. We agreed on this earlier. I'm pretty confident he was poisoned while he was trying to escape Danzo. And I really hope he was because if not, that makes his death even more stupid. Um, so
All
think
right.
about how many characters exist in every, we'll just say anime, show, whatever, doesn't matter, that have one eye, right? Like they're perfectly fine. So Shisui has one eye taken by Danzo and gives the other eye to Itachi and then kills himself. So he could have just, like also kept his eye and lived if he. This is assuming he wasn't poisoned. That's why we're making the assumption that he was. Um, but again, like he just goes like, "Oh, all right, here's my eye. I'm gonna die now," and then hops off a cliff. So like his death wasn't super emotional for me. I think there was some significant relevance as far as moving the story along because it kind of forced Tachi's hand to like, okay, I have to do something now, like I'm on my own. But it's still a D.
All right. Where on D? Does it matter?
Uh, put it after Conan.
Okay. All right, and
I
the
feel like I feel like I'm the one filling up the D here.
you have filled up a lot. I've got a couple, but yeah, you have a lot of D's, dude. Jeez. And so next we have Madara's brother, whose name is always confuses me. It's Izuma, which Jake pointed out because I always freaking forget it. Um, so his death, we don't really get a lot of information from it. We find out he does die. He dies mainly because he ends up giving his eyes to Madara and makes it so Madara can continue on the Uchiha clan and make it so that they can become relevant again. I don't really have a whole lot to say about this. It's important plot wise, but you don't really get a lot out of it. But you do also get the depth of, I guess, how deep the roots go for the Uchiha clan. And
Mm-hmm.
it helps show something that will parallel Sasuke later on, in that when another Uchiha dies, I mean, if your brother died, want you'd want some kind of recompense for it. And so just because of that and the impact that has on Madara and then in turn Sasuke and Obito, I'm gonna give it a low C tier. I don't think it's a horrible death. I think it could have been done a little bit better, but we can still see its impact today. All right, on to you, Jake.
Okay, so I'm gonna take Zabuza and Haku next. So this is like the first meaningful deaths of the show.
Mm-hmm.
These are relevant. They're emotional, especially as you like learn about their respective histories and stuff and kind of how they interact. Haku's death is far more emotionally appealing than Zabuza's because Zabuza's it's his reaction that like invokes emotion out of people here. So For
Mm.
those of you that don't know or like are just watching them for fun, Haku was a prodigy just like Sasuke and is taking on both Sasuke and Naruto by himself, um, and winning, and only leaves because Naruto uses he finally opens up the Nine Tails chakra, uses that, and is able to win. And then Haku's like, "All right, well, I've failed. Like that's how devoted Haku is to Sabaku. Like I failed the one mission I had for you. Go ahead and kill me," which is also pretty stupid. Um, but then kind of redeems himself by saying like, "Oh, never mind. Zabuza needs one more favor. I'm gonna go stop Kakashi from stabbing him in the heart." Uh, so I think that was pretty big there. And then Zabuza's reaction, like when you see him cry, like this is the demon of the hidden mist. He killed all of his classmates and his friends, and to see him like actually crying was super important for the show. So for me, it's I'm torn now. I was confident when I thought about it. I'm gonna say it's a B. I'm gonna say it's a B.
Okay. And how high of a B?
Um, I'm gonna put it ahead of Sorcery.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. So
Robo.
Jirobo. So this is important just because it shows that Choji isn't totally useless. It's basically one of the two times I can think of where we see like Choji do anything of value. Um, it also shows some of Shikamaru's intellect because he's able to discern how to break Jirobo's, I think it's called an Earth Dome Jutsu, from feigning betraying the Hidden Leaf, and then both Kiba and Naruto are total idiots and think he's actually betraying them, which is classic. Um, the fight, I like the fight overall, but it's still a very bad fight, and it's just above Tayuya. It's a D tier for old J. All right, so what about you with Hizashi?
Uh,
Hyuga, aka Neji's dad.
so Neji's dad, I don't think it's super relevant to the story. It's not super emotionally appealing or invoking. However, I will say it is a pretty baller move to die for your brother because he's an identical twin.
Mm-hmm.
Um, again, I think it might have been a little stupid, but I don't have a whole lot to say on it. I'm gonna give it a solid D.
A solid D. Okay, where?
Put it just yeah, right there, right behind Figueroa. So final
All
count,
right.
I think I filled the D tier.
Well, fellas, that's where we're going to end the first episode. On the second one, we will have my face cam back up. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this one. It was a long one, but it had to be. So, hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Any last words, young Jakers?
Go Browns.
All right, see you soon, guys. Bye.